So I'm going to begin by showing you the original photos of the house before it arrived at my place. So as you can see here, I was well aware that the house was in pieces and that some major restoration had to take place. Bottom floor, there's some paper loss. And you can see here on the top floor, there's almost like a hole in the wallpaper between the windows. On the right side of the house is probably where the worst of the damage is. And you can see on the left side the brick is missing as well. So I grabbed a razor blade, and what I'm doing is I'm just kind of scraping away this paper that's so damaged beyond repair. So as I mentioned in the previous videos that I've done about this house, I believe this little house got wet at one point, perhaps was stored in a garage or in a damp cellar, and as a result the paper disintegrated on the bottom. So there's also some kind of lacquer that's been painted over top of the lithograph, which usually is easy enough to remove if it's old stuff. So what I did was I took a cotton swab and 50% isopropyl rubbing alcohol and cleaned the house, and that did not remove any of the lacquer from it. So then I went to 70%, and that did not work. So then I went to 90% isopropyl rubbing alcohol, and that didn't work either. So the next step to have removed the shiny texture that's on the house would have been to start using mineral spirits. But mineral spirits can be dangerous. I was really, really super afraid that I would actually remove the existing lithograph. So you can see here, these are the photos that we took at that photo session in my previous video. So took it to the printer, and we went into Corel Draw and sized it the correct size, and had to adjust the color just slightly in order to make it work. So I'm going to remove as much of this black rotting paper as I possibly can, but it is not actively moldy, which is surprising. You would think that this would smell moldy, but this must have happened many, many years ago, because there is absolutely no smell whatsoever. So I'm just going to try and take off as much as I possibly can. I'm not going to be able to get it all off. As you can see here, it's still coming off, but oh, and I've got a nail that's sticking out right there on the left. So yeah, right there's a nail, but that's okay. We'll get the hammer out and we'll put it back in. So last night what I did was I actually took the entire house and removed the nails and re-glued everything. So the house is actually very sturdy now. The product that I used to re-glue the house was Gorilla wood glue, so it seemed to have worked really well. So you can see here, I'm just making sure that I'm getting all of this off. Okay, I've got my first piece of lithograph here. So this is just going to cover where the missing part is. Now you can see it's not an exact color match, but it's much better than all of that black. So I did try and scrape away that black, but it did not come apart. And check out this glue. It exploded on me. For some reason, this brand new bottle of glue has a slit in the bottom. Ugh, it's just so frustrating. So I chose this glue because it's an acid-free glue, and it's made by Eileen's, which is the same company that makes tacky glue, and it's called memory glue. So it's acid-free, guaranteed to never yellow, and so that's what I thought would be the best for this project. I also used a 32-pound paper to recreate the lithograph, and it is also acid-free, of course. So I'm just slathering this memory glue onto this little piece of lithograph. And then I'm going to put it on the house. So that's piece number 1. And it's funny because this is a really quite a heavy bond paper, and it doesn't look heavy in the video, but it is, trust me. Okay, so here we go. Just kind of putting this on here. And as you can see, it's not perfect, but I didn't intend it to be perfect. I just want it to be as close as possible to the original. I mean, it's not a bad match, but it's not perfect. So now here's the brick that should have been there at the bottom. So I'm just going to adhere the brick to the bottom of it. I think it'll be a vast improvement over, see the split? Oh, what a pain in the butt. I just hate that because this is a brand new bottle of glue. Like, how frustrating is that? So I'm just going to make sure that it's completely covered. Okay, now I've got it completely covered in glue, and I'm just going to apply it to the bottom here. So I took the photograph from the existing brick off of the front of the house to create this brick on the bottom of the house. So again, it's not perfect, but boy, is that ever an improvement. If you look here at the top of the screen, do you see the before and after? Like, that is a vast improvement in my opinion. And once again, like, this is, you know, a 130-year-old dollhouse, so it's not going to be absolutely perfect, but that's the best that I can do with it. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it over and look at this side. And as you can see, this side is not as bad. So somebody has trimmed off the bad part of it. And so I just have to, once again, scrape it and adhere the brick to it. So once again, I've got out my trusty razor blade and I'm scraping off the excess paper. So here's what the brick is going to look like once it's on. Like, what a huge improvement. I don't think you need to watch me slathering on glue again. I think we all know how to do that. So here we go. We're just going to glue this on. I think it looks pretty good. I'm actually pretty pleased with the way this has turned out. And once again, for comparison's sake, see the top, right? I made this one slightly wide, so I'm just going in with a pair of fine scissors and just trimming off the excess. So now I'm going to attempt to do the bottom floor. I'm just removing the door so that it's not in my way. So you can see here that that big hole has to be filled. So we took photographs of the right side of the room so that we can use it to patch the left side of the room since they're mirror images of one another. So you can see here that it's not perfect again, but it's as close as I possibly can get to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it down so that it will fit that tiny spot. So I'm just trimming it, and I'm going to have to trim this several times until I get it so that it lines up perfect. But as you can see here, like, there was damage also to the right-hand side of the room. So it's not going to be perfect, but it's certainly better than that big black spot that was there originally. I cut so much of this footage out because I fiddled and fiddled and fiddled and trimmed, and I actually used 3 different pieces of lithograph before I came up with the exact size that I wanted. So here I am gluing it in 20 minutes later. So as you can see, there's still going to be that black there, but look at the difference between the original and the repaired version. Not so bad. So now I'm going to flip it up and look at the top part. So looking at the one, so that was the original one. See how much lighter it was? So it just was not usable. So had to darken it down, and we must have done that about 20 times before we came up with this one. And once again, it's not perfect, but it's better than having a hole. This is me just measuring how big the circle has to be. And once again, I must have fiddled with this piece of paper for 20 minutes trying to get it to look right. There's absolutely no way that I would have thought putting these little pieces of paper in would be so difficult. But I really wanted to try and do a good job and take my time. So here I am gluing the little patch in. And once again, the color match is not exactly perfect, but it's certainly better than the hole that was originally there. So I've tried my very best. You can see on the right what it looked like before, and now here's the after. So I think once the dollhouse is full of furniture, that it'll actually look pretty good. So now I've got to put the door back on, and I've glued the roof on, and you can see here the missing lithograph that's been replaced on the right side. The door is hung and it works perfectly. Here we are on the left side. I'm quite pleased with this. And the glue's still wet on the roof, so I'm just adjusting things here. So she's going to have to sit for a while before she dries. And I'm just removing a little bit of excess glue here. You can see the back of the house. So the back of the house must have been painted, I want to say, within the last 50 years anyways. So, and once again, I'm just making sure that it's stable and where I want it to be. And then I'm going to put it aside to let her dry. I just love this house. I'm just so pleased. And you can see here, I've patched the bottom left. I've patched the hole in the top. I've reattached the front stairs. So that's the best that I can do with it. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think of this restoration project. And we'll have to join you next time where we're going to have to fill this little baby up with some lovely antique furniture. So now I bring in my ring light so you can see actually with some good lighting. So there's the patch on the top. Here it is a little bit closer up. See, it's not as bad as what I thought it would be. And here's the patch on the bottom lit up. You can see here it's a lot better than that big black discoloration. I mean, there is some discoloration, but it's not too bad. I'm actually quite pleased. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, press the like button, and tell your friends about my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have the best day.